Hi. Hello there. How are you? I am. Am I well? Am I alive? Maybe. Maybe we're alive. I mean, I am live, but that doesn't mean I'm alive. Just one of many. Oh my god, sorry. I'm like advertising the stream. I'm being a bit. It's a morning, you know. I wasn't designed for the morning. I mean, okay, it's an hour until the afternoon, so it's not that far from you know. But still, it's technically morning. Nah, I just didn't sleep well. Hello, everybody. I'm Cupcake Conjuror in name and profession, and today we're making Orks. Handcam. Thumbnail 311. Oops, that's not 11. That's. There we go. There we go. And then. But damn, advertising. Advertising the streams on the Reddits. On the Reddits. And the blue sky. Mr. Blue Sky. Is there a song called Mr. Blue Sky? What do we want to what do I want to advertise it as? Be snaggers. More like best. Nah. I'm not a big fan of the Beast Snagger models. But what do we want to say? What do we want to advertise a stream as? Surprisingly small orcs. These orcs are surprisingly small. I mean everything's small compared to Space Marine. I have no idea where I'm going to put these models. There we go. Oh, view profile, open link. Yeah, because I've still just got the last models I built, like the Exodites and the oh, what is he called? The not bar boys, they're not on bars. They are on squigs. Squig hog boys! Yeah, still got the squig hog boys and the Exodites just on my desk. Just hanging out. Like, where you gotta put us? Actually, no, I'm gonna put the Exodites up in the attic. There should be plenty of room in the box of the other Eldari. Now, for Orks after the Armageddon box set, yeah, we literally the Armageddon Orks are just on a metal tray, just sat on top of a box in my bedroom, because my current metal tray, not my current metal tray, my current box that has orcs in is too small for all the orcs now. There's too many of them. They're just like, you know, it's just a never-ending amount of orcs. You think you got them all, and then there's more. And this week pre-order coming out, more orcs. And the community post suggests that the orcs are a lot more customizable than, you know, previous modern orc kits. No, because that's been the issue. Like, they've got very good sculpts. Like, the Beast Snagger boys, they're very good sculpts. They're very nice to look at. It's just when it comes to the entire building and making yourself a bunch of unique models that are each have their own character, you don't really get that. And that's sad. There we go. Gloves are on. Now the new ones, the new Orc boys though, it seems that any set of arms can go on any body, any head can go on any other bodies. And then you can like reposition the... You can't really reposition the heads much looking at it, but you can reposition the bodies. We got Squig Hug Boy. Big old face of the knob. I wonder if we're going to rebase the current beast snaggers and give them like a 40mm base for the knob though. The knob doesn't actually look much bigger than the beast snaggers though than the normal one. I can't even tell which one's meant to be the knob. So what we're doing, if we go over here, we can see new Orks. Oh. Yeah, over here, Green Tide Dread Mob Brute Bosses. Basically, it looks like all of the detachments, except one, is going down to one detachment point, from the sounds of it. Also, Sunday preview, new Orks! New Orks Codex! Nastreg! War Boss! Mech! Boys! War Bikes! Nice. How's the prettiest girl in Britain doing? I don't know. I'm doing okay.
How's the prettiest girl in Britain doing?
Oh no, I don't know. I'm doing okay. I'm doing a story thing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Cuptle. Oh, look at all of these. They're so cool. But yeah, if we look up for Orc Boys, you can see there's like lots of different options. I'm hoping these are ball joints in such a way that you can put an arm on and then you can reposition it how you want it to be. Like up or down or, you know, at an angle. Without needing green stuff. You need to single out to be carrying for burner, big shooter and rocket launcher as their backpacks. Each only fits on a specific body. No! Their body... That sucks. The head's pretty cool though. And I like the little squiggly squigs. You get little squiggly beasts and accessories. Although I'm hoping they're not getting rid of Burner Boys and Looters, because the Looters are my favourite Orc unit. It looks like they're going for way off their squad. Getting destroyed. Yeah. So how are you doing, Native Engine? I hope you're doing well today. Look, I got a little dinosaur. Doggos. Wah, 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 wah. Wah, 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 wah. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Right, do you know, have you seen that thing of, do you know, the dog in a plane? And it's like, wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. You can tell I'm tired. Oh my gosh. I'm still waking up and I've ate way too much food this morning. I was hoping food would, you know, energize me. So I had a chicken sandwich and a chocolate bar. Well, not a chocolate bar. A chocolate Rice Krispie bar. Cocoa Pops bar. You know, breakfast cereal bar. Yeah. And crisps. Like 3 packets of crisps. I've eaten way too much. I don't know why I felt the need to. I don't know why I felt the need to with my tummy issues. Okay. But we've got Orks to build. So I've got like this set of Orks I bought ages ago before they announced the Exodites. And then I got this set. I'm just like looking at this set here. Oh, that's why. I was like, where's the Where's a cool looking school thing? There's a cool looking school thing there. It's like, I used it already. Oh my gosh, I'm a silly Billy. Yeah, then we got the 10 other boys that, you know, came with the Beast Snagger set. So we've just got to build them. We've just got to build them. 7 and 8. Get them onto some basis. 20 boys. 10 of these are going to go in the kill rig. 10 of them are not. Oh yeah, because I was already stealing some of their heads and limbs for other kits, so I've got like spare heads and stuff here. So let's get going. No, I had a horrible dream though. I dreamt that someone was trying to make fur coats out of mongooses. And it was way too detailed. I was like, no, poor mongoose. And then they realised that, you know, mongooses, they're kind of small. And you can't make a fur coat out of them unless it's like for a very small kid. Mongoose. Mongoose. Is that actually how you say the plural of mongoose? And it was traumatizing. My brain sometimes it's just, you know, I feel like it kind of hates me. Like, you need to take better care of yourself. I'm gonna give you nightmares so you sleep better. Okay, so I need to just clean that out of the sprue. Poor Conjuror. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There we go. Troy McClaw. And then this gets cut out just here. Yeah, I don't know if any arm can go there, if it has to be a specific one. We can check. We can learn. We can try to do better. As only we can. Well, I think this is meant to be for Thumper Dude. The Thumper is a grenade launcher. Wait, is it actually called a Thumper? I think it might be in the codex. I know that in real life, like some of the grenade launchers, especially the one this one's inspired by, have been referred to as a Thumper because of the noise it makes when you fire. It goes. Hello, Eternal Otaku. Oh, Anthony, how you doing? Wah! Wah! Are you looking forward? Oh, yeah! We're watching Forward Until Dawn today. And this arm fit here. I guess, kind of. Not really. Forward Until Dawn. If you're not a member and you want to watch along, you can join the Discord. And we'll also be watching it there. There you go. Forward Until Dawn is a Halo like mini film that was an advertisement for Halo 4. I've seen like the first couple minutes when I was trying to, you know, download it and stuff. It's free to watch on YouTube. No need to worry about that. Okay, do these heads fit here? There we go. Free in German. It's free in German. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to actually stream it properly to YouTube. I'll probably have to do what I've done in other times, in which I stream it properly. We'll watch it on Discord. And on YouTube, I might just have to blur it out. If I had a creative bones in my body, I would draw Master Cupcake and Cuptana. Oh my gosh. Maybe I should hire some art of that. There we go. Yeah, it's a thumper. Here we go. So this isn't just a super thick barreled gun. No, it's a grenade launcher. That's not a magazine. Instead, it breaks open there. You put in your grenade. You close it back up. Like it's a breech loader. This style of grenade launcher is still in use in a lot of countries today. Although generally most countries are moving away from them. That being said, there are certain things you can do with a thumper with it being such a big barrel. Like we're moving away from these type of grenade launchers for semi-automatic and automatic ones that do have proper art magazines and stuff, but they fire smaller explosives. You might have to go to the dentist. No, not the dentist. I hope your teeth are okay. I hope you've got dental. That's what they call it in America, isn't it? Oh, that must be the end of a thumper. You hope your teeth are okay too, yeah. By which I mean Cupcon's chief. Yes, we are recoloring from Mjolnir armor to Cupcon yellow and pink. And a hologram Cuptle, yeah! So, oh guys, you might want to get in on this. I'm thinking of getting a new model. And when I do get a new model, like Cuptle gets updated too. Like I've seen some of these super cool, pretty models that people have. I'm like, oh, that seems cool. But also, I kind of want to like make Cuptle a bit more unique from his origins, so that he's our own thing. And then maybe we can merchandise him. Maybe. Grenade launcher. But I don't know what design I'm going for. My current idea is like go for something that's still very glittery and almost angelic. With like a flying cherub Cuptle with wings and stuff. And then, like, I'll have a toggle where I can go into biblically accurate cupcake mode and the entire model will just, go. And, like, bend apart into biblical form. I also thought of maybe making one that, like, it toggles into undead. A new model, you just got this one. Yeah, well, remember how long it took me to go from, feet to do for debut for feed 2 and stuff. And to get it finalized. You have to think like far into the future for these things. Also, I've no idea when I'll get it. I'm just like trying to think of ideas for the next model. It's like, it's like you generally like shots plan next Christmas. Before this Christmas is even done. Like, you're always planning. You're always planning ahead. Saint Celeste cake. Cupcon goes through models like pairs of socks. Hey, I rarely wear socks, so I go through them very slowly. Although I still got loads of socks of holes in. Okay, where do these actually go on the model? I'm gonna guess they're just attached to the strap here. The holy socks. The holy socks. Yeah, other ideas would try making it look more like a rogue trader, although we kind of are already. Or maybe like, you know, more cyborgy. There we go. We got a thumper made. Get thumped. Bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Commissar Conjuror. Commissar Conjuror. No, in fact, the issue with Commissar Conjuror is, you know, the Commissar's designs are inspired by two very real, very evil regimes that, you know, I don't necessarily want to associate myself with. Like, imagine someone coming to the streams and, like, I'm trying not to just do Warhammer. Like, I feel like just doing Warhammer's bad. Like, I want to do Yu-Gi-Oh! And other stuff as well. I want to branch out to more different streams types again. So it's like someone comes to a stream and they don't really know Warhammer. Or even if they do, they might not necessarily look at a model that's, you know, designed to look like a Commissar and think, oh, that's a Commissar. A 40k Commissar in particular. They might think, oh, that's a Commissar. You know, from the Soviets. Oh, that's, yeah, I think... There we go. Oh, got a hole there. It feels like it's got very specific arms it wants to use here. I doubt it's this arm. Will it fit here? Kind of, I guess. Not really, no. Gonna be weird gaps in it. There you go. I mean, just doing it with cupcake colours and having the cupcake symbols on it would. If you, but maybe. Still very military aesthetic, which maybe we should go for. Maybe I should go for just, you know, blue eyes. Maiden with eyes of blue. Kyber! Oh, just go weird ironic. I can't spend much time around flowers and plants due to my really bad hay fever. Go Black Rose Dragon. Like, what's your model inspired by? You know, have you seen Black Rose Dragon? Yeah. There we go. I'll just like steal this arm and put this one in here. There's really bad mold lines all over this model.
Mother, I wish to evolve beyond this turtle form and ascend to the perfection of cake-size orange dragon.
Cake-sized orange. Cake-eyes orange dragon. That could work. Your colours remind me of the LA Lakers. Is that a American football team? Or is it a basketball? Baseball? You guys don't play rugby. Basketball. Wait, I never knew you played basketball in lakes. Wouldn't that become, isn't there a specific, like, water sport for that? Like, kind of like volleyball, but you're in for actual water and you have to swim around. Oh, okay, that arm doesn't fit perfectly, but it fits well enough. Okay, maybe I should give you a different head from that one. There we go, that's a big old roaring face. Maybe not an orange this dragon. I got a distinct shiver from the Nintendo lawyers. Yeah. It would have to be... I'm thinking about moving away from orange for Cuptle simply because of Cuptle. Of if you look up the Google Cupcake Turtle emote. Water polo. Water polo! Wait, isn't polo generally played with horses? What's happening here? So you got people playing water polo in lakes with, but it's actually basketball, and they've got horses. Isn't like a horse? Is a horse a distinct advantage or disadvantage in basketball? I mean, if you're playing in water and your other team isn't, then maybe not. Okay, 18 and 17 go together. There we go. I mean, we could definitely make an orange dragon look distinct from any of the Nintendo ones, like Dragonite and Charizard. Thinking we need to improve the distinction. Be right back. Bye bye, Native Engine. We'll see you. Ow, I just whacked my elbow. Soon as Native Engine's going, everything starts falling to pieces. Mostly me. There we go. The line of city sport links. Water polo is not played with horses. Polo is hockey played with horses. Isn't hockey played on ice? These people, these sports people have no idea what they're doing, do they? So we somehow went from football, that's more like rugby, to basketball in lakes, but it's not water polo. But water polo isn't horse hockey in water, which isn't on ice. Unless the horses have to wear skis, in which case that'd be hilarious. You know. If I said sports was simple. American football being so close to rugby, I'm surprised they don't just play it as well. Yeah, but fair rugby is you know, with armor on, and you've got like 50-minute half times. I think if they played real rugby, they'll get, you know, I think most of the people would quit for like, losing my ears and nose and eyes isn't really worth this. And what do you mean I'm not allowed to wear massive amounts of armor? It's like this guy who's actively trying to kill me out there. It's like, yeah, just take it. What do you mean? It's fun. You just got to make sure you don't die. I mean, you can wear a funny little hat if you want. That protects your ears. But everyone will make fun of you for wearing it. Why will they make fun of me for wearing it? Because it's a funny little hat. It looks weird. It's not a helmet, don't worry. It's like, American football helmets are fun. They're cool. What do you mean, don't worry? Okay, looks like I can't just put any head on this body. They really don't want to fit here. This big snagger kit is a bit disappointing. Really doesn't want to be built differently than the intended way. Yeah, the other heads wouldn't fit here properly. Oops, need to fix up this foot here. To be fair, I think rugby union is played much more like American football, where you can only let the ball go to the ground X amount of times. So you could probably get them to play that pretty easily. Maybe. Oh, I'm not sure anyone knows the rules of American football. I'm pretty sure everyone just watches it for the halftime shows. And the terrible Super Bowl adverts. Do you remember when Super Bowl adverts were amazing? No, no one does. There you go. Can you believe we're all named Steve? Have you heard that combined Supergirl and Spider-Man made 2.1 billion in profits? Not a profits, just made 2.1 billion and 1.8 billion in profits. Actually, way less. Because that doesn't take into account. Oh gosh. They spend way too much on films, I feel like. Like, do you ever just like sometimes see these films and you look at the budget and it's like, why did it cost that much? Where did all the money go? Because clearly this is not worth what people paid for it. Like, box office success right now is like dependent on making 1 billion or like 500 million. It's like, That shouldn't be, you should be aiming for 100 million and keep your budget well below that. Catering, obviously. Kind of. I think a lot of it goes down to an over-reliance on digital effects. And then once you are using digital effects, you can't really reuse them to the same extent. Like, do you know when you get props made? They can be reused from one film to the next, which can reduce the price of the next film because they don't need to have these props made for them. Where I guess not cyber, where digital effects, you can't really just reuse them to the same extent. You can a little bit. It's like, once you build this one character for the film, like do for Transformer films, where they build these ridiculous robots, which are just for one film, and they get killed off. And the amount of work that goes into making it, and then for the next film, you need a new robot to get killed off. It's like, okay, you want to go for super realistic robots, that's understandable why it's so expensive. But then you've got films like, do you know, with superhero films, it's like every single scene, even when they're just walking around, is CGI'd. Like, do you know, for outfit, completely CGI. I was like, no, we did build a practical one, but, you know, we didn't like it, so we just CGI'd on a new suit for him. And it's like, okay, so you got a limited time, because they have to run on a limited time, and because they need to make it so good, you're not necessarily going to notice everything CGI'd on. It's going to take for blooming, it's going to cost up an absolute bomb. Probably hiring on multiple CGI studios, or the studios having to hire on multiple staff. Even if the staff themselves aren't being paid a great deal. Hello, Espark! To be fair, Transformers gets a lot of mileage per model and do reuse models of smaller mobs. Ooh! We're talking about the ridiculous budgets of films. And what they could do to, you know, reduce those budgets. Oh yes, some of them insane. Yeah, it's like, there's definitely films out there as well. It's like, this shouldn't cost you that much. Like, no star power is worth. It's like, obviously you get the money spent on stars as well. And it's like, no star is worth 100 million. Because you can't guarantee that a big name is going to bring people into seats. In fact, this has been proven time and time again that some of the biggest names in Hollywood can still produce box office bombs because no one cares about the film. Even if they're in it. It can help to some extent, but not when you're paying them ridiculous monies. I know a lot of it goes into, like, Disney has, because Disney is such a big conglomerate, one of the things you'll realise about their budget, if you really look into it, is it's not actually as big as it seems. It's highly inflated. Because what they're going to do a lot of the time is that they're going to be buying in-house stuff. And they're going to be hiring in-house stuff. So Disney Studios, like Marvel Studios are making a Marvel film, might, you know, go to a CGI company that's actually owned by Disney. They might go to a prop company that's owned by Disney. They'll be having film crews owned by Disney. like for all under different names and different organizations, but for Disney, they'll be hiring marketing agencies are owned by Disney. So what happens with a lot of the money is it's just a lot of money being passed around through the same hands effectively, and really it's all going back to the same place. It's not all of it, like I know they do go outside for lots of CGI and stuff, but they keep a lot of it relatively in-house, which helps keep... Well, it doesn't keep the price down, it just means that they need to make much less profit from what you actually think they do. The same goes with a lot of stuff, but it's still absolutely insane. I know some costs can come from on-set shooting. So it's like, I decide I want to film some of my scenes in Kazakhstan. And then I want to shoot some scenes in Britain. And then I want to go to... Where else? Saudi Arabia. Yeah, and then to China. So taking all of those flights and moving from one place to the next, especially when you're having to bring like A-listers on first class planes and stuff to the locations, that suddenly can cost you hundreds of thousands very, very quickly, even millions. And on top of this, it's like, depending where you want to shoot, you might have to shut down like entire streets and roads on multiple days. You might have to rent out entire villages and stuff. I didn't feel mention marketing costs because the budget list is the film's budget, not the total. Yeah. And one's a conservative estimate between equal and double the film budget. It depends. A lot of them don't necessarily get that much marketing. And I would not believe that like Supergirl had her budget in marketing. Because it's like, I didn't see a single Supergirl advert before it came out. Or even while it was out. The only things I knew of Supergirl was on Reddit. And then eventually I just Googled the trailer. Compare this to Spider-Man Brand New Day, where I have seen plenty of adverts for it. I've not seen any of the really long adverts, but it's like I get adverts on YouTube where for Brand New Day just goes do-do-do-do. And where they've been trying to do interviews and stuff. There we go. I imagine you go on to here. Yep. High budget might honestly be a selling point. Think of them saying that they use millions to make a film. It would make people think it's going to be the best film ever. Kind of, but people are getting kind of used to the idea that a film is going to cost 300-400 million, and you get films that are costing like 800 million, close to $1 billion now. It's absolutely insane. But then you have some of the biggest box office films ever, well, maybe not ever, but where they made hundreds of millions and they didn't even have $1 million for the budget. They need to make 2 to 3 times the money spent on films to break even. like of a day that's very achievable, but budgets has crept up. It's yeah, I guess some of the costs comes from, you know, inflation. It's more expensive to, you know, like you said, catering. It's more expensive to buy for food for people. It's more expensive to hire people on. But at the same time, how much people are actually willing to spend on cinema going is significantly reduced because... Oh, actually, it isn't that much higher than what it used to be. Because... Well, inflation. There we go. Hi, Native Engine. Welcome back. I hope you had a good time. There you go. He's got a gun. He's got a gun. It's very fun. Do 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 do. Yeah, films do get away with putting product placement and stuff. When we're talking about Superman's budget and people are saying, oh my gosh, it didn't even break even after you take into account marketing for like, have you seen how much product placement's in the film? Also, none of the actors in the film actually take... one of the big things you're going to see is that a lot of actors, especially big name actors, they have this thing of... What's the word? They get basically royalties of a film for like every million it makes above 20 million, let's say, or 50 million, they make like 2%. And if it makes more than 100 million, they get 5% of each million above that. You know, that kind of thing, which can significantly eat into your budget. Whereas if you hire smaller name actors, or ones that aren't really that big, it's going to eat less into your budget. Then you've got obviously product placement. People are going to pay a lot to get product placement. But obviously, if you film bombs, then those people who hired you, who bought product placement for your film, aren't necessarily going to be very happy about that. And aren't necessarily... And that means next time you're trying to sell product placement for a film, you might have to sell it at a lot smaller price. I also think a lot of money goes into writing the script and then rewriting it and reshooting scenes and stuff and then re-editing the films. Because like when you look at how many edits the modern film markets go through, it's absolutely insane. Transformers movies just being glorified car adverts. Yeah, and toy adverts. Don't forget toys. This is one of the reasons why kids' films, no one ever feels the need to market them too well. Especially doing ones that are like a Hasbro or Mattel advert or something. Because, well, as I said, for adverts, they're literally just adverts for a toy company. They're often funded by a toy company who does not care about the film doing well. Their main goal is for the film to do well enough, it's going to sell toys. And, you know, video games and stuff like that. No. I mean, obviously, if they can make their money back, nice, just from the film. But they really don't care. Every new season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Being there to sell for new expansion to the card roster, which is hilarious because originally, actually, it's not always the case. The manga definitely sells cards. It's one of the reasons why they include cards in the manga, so more people buy the manga and get into the manga. So it's a bit of a weird thing there. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game sells manga, and the manga sells Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, and the same goes with the anime. But if you actually look at a lot of the anime, even going into as late as Arc 5, you're getting cards in the anime that just don't exist in real life. I mean, they might one day exist in real life. Like, they're slowly going back to, you know, old anime cards and being like, we could make this into a proper archetype, you know? But it's like, the reason we never made this into a card originally was because it was way too powerful, but it actually would fit in the modern game system pretty well without breaking it, with just a few tweaks. So... but that's partly because of how the anime production cycles go. And how the manga goes. In which both of them are relatively high budget thing. Relatively, especially the manga is incredibly beautifully drawn. But they're often not being made in perfect tandem with the card game. Like, the card game has to work on a certain thing. It's like people expect sets every X number of months. They expect special Christmas sets as well. The TCG accepts TCG unique cards. The OCG expects some weird exclusives that will take years to get into the TCG. And sometimes TCG cards will go into the OCG. But that means that you often just don't get a lot of lining up. And when they're making the anime, they can't just be like, hey, do you have cards that you've not released yet? It's like, no. And obviously they do have certain things, like when they're releasing a brand new expansion to Yu-Gi-Oh! Like with Link summoning, Pendulum summoning and stuff like that. They, obviously, they coincide that with the new anime. And they're working, like, really they're working in concert for that. So you're going to get certain cards that are going to be released. But then you're going to just have things where it's not working quite as well. The second season of Card Fight Vanguard anime was to promote the new faction and sub-faction, Link Joker faction, being the most vile thing ever. I've not seen Card Fight Vanguard. I should really. I mean, it sounds very much up my alley with being, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! I do like the way these saws are designed for beast snaggers, because you can very clearly see that this saw isn't just designed to, you know, be a weapon. It's very much a tool here. Like, this is the type of saw you design when you want to cut through bone, or, you know, a monster hide, metal stuff. When you want to make something rudimentary tool for doing industrial cutting effectively. Like, you realise, yes, if they want to kill the beast and they want to cut it up. They want to kill that tank and they want to cut into it and cut pieces off as trophies. Maybe reuse the parts. And you see a lot of it through these, like, double chains. And obviously still got the basic chain axe, which is more weapon looking than tool. And the same goes like this claw. The claw is different from your typical orc power claw by the fact that it's more like a fireman claw. The other type of one that's designed to cut you out, you know, cut through a car. or do you know, cut through falling bits of building, or what is it called, support beams. $29.30. I mean, My Little Pony was designed to sell the new brand line of toys. But it's very funny to think that the Yu-Gi-Oh anime originally, when it came out, but wasn't a card game to go with it. And then once they did decide to release a card game, the anime was coming before the card game. So you didn't have proper rules, and then, you know, you had the entire Bandai thing off, where they decided to change what company were making the cards, and that came with, you know, changing off the rules and stuff.
I done wanna just crumpier. I wanna make you into shiny gubbins for me new wagon.
Yeah. New Ork truck. The new Ork truck looks amazing. I don't think I've got to get any of the new Ork stuff, at least not for a while. I need to get a new box for my Orks, so I got somewhere to put them. And I want to paint the Orks that I've got undercoated. There we go. Yu-Gi-Oh! Favorite thing has to be obviously I've also got, do you know, the Warhammer do you know, TV show and stuff for Warhammer TV, which is very weird because it feels a bit like it's just designed to sell your own factions. Like the model designs are very close to like even for like the character models are very close to actual models you can buy. But at the same time, Warhammer TV is only available outside of the things that they purposely put on YouTube. You know, to subscribers. People are already buying Warhammer who don't need to be sold on it. Then you got things like you know, Space Marine 2 and stuff, which kind of works as an advertisement. In many regards, I feel like Warhammer TV could benefit from making a deal with something like Netflix. Okay, this arm definitely does not fit on this body, which is disappointing. Like, not having Netflix make Warhammer, but simply making a deal with them for like, hey, we're making Warhammer TV stuff. We want to put it on your store page. As well. It's shooting all gangster style. Do. This guy's got a hole in his head. Yeah. Already had the secret level Warhammer thing, yeah. Although the secret level Warhammer thing is interesting in which it didn't really feature much actual, you know, video game stuff. Like, all those Chaos Cultists were nothing like the Chaos Cultists you can actually buy. If anything, they're more like Gene Stealer Cultists. Like, you even had the guy in, like, a quad bike or something, didn't you? And then the demon thing that they thought, you know, the Psycho or whatever it was, didn't look very much like the model for the Psycho that they currently sell. Obviously, they've got the new series coming to Amazon now with Henry Cavill and stuff, which I don't know how to feel about it, because wouldn't this be the first thing that Henry Cavill has actually done by himself? I say by himself, do you know, where he's actually been the producer and stuff? Like, people talk about him on The Witcher, but he wasn't the person in charge of it. He was just the actor who had stuff to say about it, and sometimes he listened and sometimes he didn't. So that cycle looked more like something in Age of Sigmar. Yeah, yeah. I think it definitely sold the setting, and I think it was more to sell Space Marine 2 than anything else. Space Marine 2, Space Marine 3. And then obviously Space Marine 2 helped sell the game quite well. He's probably more of a consultant if he's got any real weight in that series. I don't think so. From what I've heard, it doesn't seem like he's a consultant. Sounds more like he talks about bringing on, although he did say he's bringing on a legendary screenwriter for horror, which sounds like it'll be pretty good. For one thing I'd say about Warhammer at the moment, with the animations, is that they definitely significantly improved the animation compared to the original things that are there. Like, if you look back at the super old stuff on Warhammer TV, the animation quality is just not it. But now it's pretty high, but the writing itself is a bit more questionable. And it's not terrible, and I think they're often hampered by the fact it's like, hey, you're limited to 3 10-minute episodes to tell an entire story that you want to sell. And you must include this, and this. And that's massively hampering to, like, any writer. While that kind of thing can give rise to, you know, some incredibly good stuff, it can also give rise to incredibly bad stuff. Or in many cases, mediocre. It's okay. It's decent enough. But it's like, with Ties, you have people complaining about the Custody, you know, being too evil, too much of a jerk. Like, why is a Custody acting like this? It's like, well, the entire thing is about how the Imperium is... It's about the various evils that the Imperium commit. So, obviously, they're going to be like that. But because they had to sell this thing in just 10 minutes... it's kind of just trying to get it across by theme, by, you know, you effectively have to guess and read into it a lot more. Like, oh yeah, if they're collecting Psychos, why are they collecting Psychos into a black ship? Why, remember, the episode's called Tithe. Well, that's not necessarily going to be instantly picked up by people without it, you know, being told to them. Because obviously, well, then you've only got 10 minutes, you can't necessarily just tell people straight up what's happening. Oh yeah, I heard that it was a horror director, something they're getting in. Not a bad idea. You can see the potential. Yeah, I think definitely if you're going to do 40k, I think, especially for a general audience, horror is the best way to do it. Because one, there's a lot more precedence. Like, if you decide, if you're not wanting to do it as a horror story, then what you're basically doing it is as a war story or as a hero story, effectively. So I need to fix my microphone stand. Well, then for certain expectations, there's an expectation that the good guys are good guys. The other people fighting the aliens, that they're nice, they're good. You want to support them. But I need a planetary defense force versus Lictor horror. That would be cool. With horror films, you don't necessarily get that. Like, if you look at the Alien series, or Dead Space, or even things like Subnautica when it comes to video games as well. Well, I mean, Dead Space also a video game. But when you just look at a lot of these horror things, the often, like, the company or the people involved, maybe not the individuals, but the people that they work for or the reason that they're in this horrible situation are just as evil. Like Alien, they're owned by a mega corporation that doesn't care about them. Dead Space, you know, you get screwed over a lot by the people. Well, from what I know of the story. But a lot of these things, while your individual people are often good guys, it doesn't necessarily mean that the people they work for are good guys. And that's like an expectation in horror. That you don't have that same expectation for like the Imperium to be good. And that's where part of the horror comes from. When you start to realise that there's no real good ending to the story. Either they survive and are going to get screwed over, or they don't survive and are going to get screwed over. Dead Space being anti-religion since the main religion just makes the situation worse. Yeah. But it's... which I guess you could actually say is the same with Warhammer. Like, a lot of what think... there's definitely a thing in like modern Warhammer as well, focusing on all of this stuff that the Inquisition does, and even the Emperor did at first, to break down, to know about chaos and stopping people recognizing chaos. All it means is that people don't understand chaos, and as a result, they're incredibly easy to corrupt. Like, think about the people who are most uncorruptible in Warhammer, the Sisters of Battle, who are taught about chaos at a young age and how to resist it. It's like, and then the Cadians are also relatively resistant, and guess what? They know about chaos. They're taught about it.
The marker, it's making me see and hear things. Make us whole.
Yeah. Even Halo to some extent, you know, the UNSC aren't actually good guys. I mean, compared to the Covenant, yeah, there might be. But compared to Geo over there, We're kind of big old juts. So I definitely think you need somebody who's going to be able to write this kind of no-win situation for our main characters, yet still want to support the main characters. Who's going to get this very grim setting. Do. UNSC are good guys, Oni on the other hand. I mean, half of what the UNSC are doing doesn't make me feel like they're good guys, especially like, I mean, obviously you got Oni, but Oni is just part of the UNSC. It's like the UNSC were very aware of some of the worst things that, as far as I'm aware, they weren't aware of everything, but you know, they're aware of enough that they could have stopped it and chose not to. And they're the ones that, you know, chose that the best way to deal with people not being very happy about the current, you know, leadership is, you know, violence against them. Only how awful it's true. Right. There we go. It's actually funny. It's actually not that funny or surprising, I guess. A lot of sci-fi, in many regards, is kind of anti-religion. Warhammer definitely is, especially like if you read some of the older stuff. You definitely get this idea of, yeah, the writers were definitely putting their own, we really don't like or agree with religion ideas into this. In fact, they even admit as much themselves. Saying that, yeah, maybe sometimes we went a bit overboard with it. And only made all the Spartan Orion projects. It was Oni's first thought that dealing with uprising is dropping a Spartan on the problem. Yeah. But I do also feel like saying that the UNSC aren't, you know, complicit within that is a bit like saying, the Gestapo was awful. It's like, yeah, the USSR were very complicit in that, though. I mean, maybe the UNSC aren't quite as complicit. From at least what we played of the game so far, it feels like they had to be, to at least some extent. Wait, did I say Gestapo? I didn't mean Gestapo. I mean, oh, what do they call them? I forgot now. Gestapo was the other guys. Yeah, they blooming. Gulag people. Secret police. I forgot the names. I knew it. I had the word if I'd said the wrong one. I know, secret police. We had all the secret police. KGB, yes! I said Gestapo by accident. Or even the FBI and, you know, America. Or when I say FBI, CIA, and some of the stuff that they've been doing. Like, they really have done some awful stuff. In the name of... whatever. There we go. Do. Hi, Mongoose. Saying like MI6 hasn't either. They also did some
Orkses don't taste
stuff.
very nice, do they, precious?
Orksies. No, they don't taste very nice. Or stringy. And terrible. Yeah. There's a lot of people have done a lot of awful stuff. And ultimately, the people in charge are always complicit in this thing. Like, they can deny knowledge all they want. It's hard to believe that the people at the top had no knowledge. And if you did have no knowledge, then it's your own fault. You're complicit by the fact that you basically created an agency that has absolutely no oversight and has unlimited power to do what they want. And, you know, and obviously they abused that and you allowed them to abuse that. We have no idea what was happening when we would have had to sign off on half of that. Yeah, it's a bit like near where I've been to a what's it called, a museum. It was a mill. It's in Britain. It used to be an old mill, but during WW2, well, before WW2, it became a refugee camp. An extremely, extremely awful one. Like, literally, they've got a diary scrap of somebody who said that they thought it was worse than what the Germans were doing. And like, the people were not treated well. But then the war happened and people were like going, hey, we need to treat these people better. And literally, they got executed for treason. Arrested and executed for treason for protesting for people's human. This is in Britain. And recently, and well, let's say recently, it was a few years ago, you know, they managed to get hold of the person who signed off on it, and it was Churchill. And no, well, Churchill signed off on it during the war, obviously. And it's like, yeah, people were definitely aware of what was happening here. People were definitely complicit in what was happening here all the way to the top, and it was awful. It eventually got changed into a prisoner of war camp, and the conditions improved once it became a prisoner of war camp. But apparently one of the things that they'll do is when it started getting too full and, you know, people were dying inside there, but basically just burn it out. If you didn't get out in time, then, you know, you get burnt out of everything else. And this is like they found scraps of diary hidden inside some of the brickwork that was burnt. It's like, oh no. And it only came out, like, people were definitely aware of what was happening because I think it was about 10 years after the war that people started investigating what happened there, because obviously they had people that was in the living memories. But it's like archived newspapers had been destroyed and stuff of this. And it took years and decades of people trying to, you know, get words out. And there's camps like that all across Britain, though. And, you know, you don't learn about them unless you go out and try, you know, learning about them. And it's like very awful in the way it happened. And this was mostly for, you know, like German, Jewish, Polish people and stuff. And they're just treated awfully. And it's also, it's very hard when people say, like, try to give excuses for, you know, people at the top saying, well, they weren't aware of this. It's like, well, for other camps, it wasn't quite as bad. And it's like, yeah, it's true. It wasn't the norm, far from it, but it was still enough of it that, well, it's like covert warfare is dirty business. It's true. There is dirty business in it. In spy. I mean, obviously, when it comes to spying and warfare, you're obviously going to have to do some relatively questionable stuff. But then if you've got relatively questionable stuff, and then you've got child soldiers, which UNSC did. Yeah, and it's still very hard to try researching a lot of these things. Because, you know, there's still a lot of people who want to keep all of that under wraps. Well, maybe going on to real life stuff is a bit too bad now. We should stick to video games. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That's the time where underage boys could be given white feathers despite not legally being able to sign up. So they'd fake their age, get shot, and be shot for cowardice. Yeah. Especially in WW1. There was a lot of awful stuff happening back then. There we go. UNSC is very evil. Yeah. To be fair to the UNSC, I'd say that the people at the top who knew what Oni was doing and Oni itself were the evil ones. But obviously your basic soldiers and stuff and your commanders who had no idea what's going on, obviously not evil. So the UNSC itself wasn't necessarily bad. But there's definitely a lot of people who are complicit in some of the worst stuff that they did. White feathers are a dove, symbol of peace. Peace was used to insult people and shame them to death. Yeah. There we go. 62. 62! I went on to some deep topics. Let's go on to some nicer topics, though. Let's go on to pigeons. At least snakes are honest. Snakes aren't honest. They hide in the grass and then leap out at you. And then go, oh my gosh, you're not prey. You're way too big and scary. Ah! Why are your footfalls so light when you're so big? Oh my gosh, this absolutely sucks. I thought when I was looking at this, there would at least be some, you know, kit bashing potential in here. You know, minor kit bashing potential, but no. Literally, I'm gonna just have 20 dudes who are just clones of each other. All that weaponry just to pack up Remy. The Odyssey movie has some problems. Nolan is on record saying no one would believe
Kit
a
bashing.
horse is a
In a
kit.
modern Warhammer kit, are you mad woman?
Kit bashing in modern Warhammer kits. Are you mad woman? No, have you seen the new Ork kit? The new Ork kit's great. The new Ork boy one. They finally learnt. You know, make head joints that any head can attach to. Make arm joints that any arm can attach to. But like, yeah, we get you didn't like the last Ork kits because it wasn't for sculpts. Okay, I need one more head. That doesn't have a big hole in it. Orks are kit bashers, so their stuff shouldn't even work. Their gun magazines are solid blocks. No, but that is a bit of a misnomer. The main thing is the stuff shouldn't work as well as it does. That's the main thing about it. Now, there have been Ork weapons found where you just open it up and it's just literally a box of bolts in it. Except literally in the same codex, if they say that, they also mention that, you know, mech boys and grots, if they don't like an Ork, if an Ork's not paying up well enough, they just don't make it well for them. So while there was a tech piece who theorized that the weapons still work, even when they are, you know, just a box of scraps, that's not necessarily true. I mean, you've also got like a survivorship bias of, obviously, for Orks that they kill and defeat and they take the weapons off are going to be the worst equipped Orks. Like, they're going to be the ones that got beaten up the best. So what you might find is that like a particular war boss might have, you know, insulted a mech, and the mech was like, you know what? All of your gear is going to suck now. Or like an Ork kicked around the grots that were making the gear a bit too much, so the, you know, the grots decided to mess it up for them. And as was such, you know, you got the Ork war boss going. We need a diversion. We need to, you know, send just wave of boys we don't like at the enemy to the west, give them the worst gear, and then we'll attack with the best boys or best gears from the north. Obviously, the ones of the south get absolutely slaughtered. And you're looking at the gear and going, none of this should work. Is that, yeah, the Orks knew that. Or maybe not the Orks wielding it didn't necessarily know that, but the Orks at the top did. Orks would make a mag-fed revolver. That does exist. Right? People have designed an actual magazine-fed revolver. If I remember correctly. Do we have Ork snipers? Yes, we do. Commando Orks. And you used to be able to give loot to sniper rifles, and it was pretty hilarious to do so. They weren't very effective because, you know, for getting one shot at ballistic skill 2 which meant hitting on a 5+. But they could get +1 to hit, so they hit on 4s all of a sudden. And they've got precision, so you got like 10 Ork looters armed with sniper rifles, hitting on 4s. It's called Derek. It uses tround triangular rounds that are meant to save space. It jams horribly. Sounds like it would have triangular rounds. The main thing about Archy Belief, though, is it doesn't make something that shouldn't work. It makes something that should break down, not break down. But the Imperium is no better than the Orks in that regard, with, you know, the entire machine rights and stuff. It's like, even the Eldar and Tau have mentioned that the Imperial technology works way better than it should. And that this idea of machine spirits, they don't really understand it, but it sounds like, from experiences, there must be something to it. The humans' belief and religion is enough to give life to the machines, as it were. I have to remember that's literally, Orks are just stronger psychers than humans. This means you need less of them to all believe the same thing for it to start having a tangible thing on reality. It's why, technically, Titans are never going to be a waste of resources, because Titans are god engines. Literally, they, in the same way that, you know, see an Orc seeing a Stomper or a Gargant walking around can give the Orky, you know, war energy. And the Archy Belief can make sure the Garg... Like, that's where the size of a thing starts working. It's things like spaceships and Gargants and stuff like that, where things that should not work. Because you suddenly got millions of Orks, sometimes even billions of Orks, looking at this one thing and going, my gosh, Gork and Mork are amazing. But at the same time, that's exactly how what the Titans work with the Imperium, in which where they people are aware of what Titans are. Where the Titans walk, human awe is rife. It can reaffirm people's faith in the God Emperor, and that faith is directed towards a Titan. Suddenly, the Titan is capable of doing stuff that it shouldn't have any right doing. It gains a level of sentience. It gains its own soul, effectively. And no, not AI. Because while there is AI within the Titans, or at least, like, you know, some sort of computing process, you've got actual souls inside of a Titan. You have actual psychic energies and residues within the Titan. Titans that should have collapsed under their own weight do not. Titans that should have been destroyed by weapons are not. Top of the morning to you, Michael. Frowns. Cool. Regular bullet in a triangular caseless design. Triangle shape helps stacking the rounds in the magazine. The typical caseless problem still applies. I'm missing a base 3-6. Oh, one of them's meant to be for Knob. Was it you? Yeah, I think it was you. I didn't need more heads. That's why the knob's not any bigger than the regular orc. It uses one of the bodies of the regular orcs. There we go. Yeah, even a slight misalignment. Titans have machine spirit regardless of resonance level. Well, no, I think that's the thing though, is that Titans have such amount of like faith in general in Titans. Like you got all of the Omnisire stuff, you got all the Mechanicum believing in machine spirits, you got most of the Imperium believing in machine spirits. And Titans are generally like in the humanity's psyche at that point. So it doesn't matter whether you are revered or not. It's the warp works in mysterious ways. It's like technically even tanks and stuff have their own machine spirits. And you can feel them. And things that, you know, don't have any computers in them somehow still have this machine spirit to them. Because humans believe in the spirits of a machine. If still burning propellant got into the magazine, it could cook off a whole mag, but that's the same for any caseless design. Ooh. I found a nice hardcover copy of Samuel Butler's translation of Homer poems. Butler was an odd man, predicted AI takeovers in the Victorian age. Oh. I've read about some stuff where people, you know, predicted. Like, didn't H.G. Wells predict a bunch of stuff? Although, you know, the way that they thought it would go down was very odd. Here's a butler that thank Herbert references in June AI purge. Oh. I've still not read or watched Dune. Okay, yeah, I'm really not a big fan of this kit. It kind of sucks. He made a skull out of metal. He also believed that Homer was an Italian woman. Oh. Man wrote his inner fantasies on paper, it seems. A lot of people complain that he used this for Roman names of gods, but he gave reasons. In Victorian either, the Latin versions were better known thanks to a pope. That makes sense. Yeah, the knob is literally just the same as a normal boy in this kit. Just fancily dressed up and having a slightly longer torso. The Pope. Oh, like Alexander Pope. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Famous for translating poems into rhyming English, which really tortured the meaning. Yeah. What happens when you translate poems? You got two ways to translate poems, either literally or directly, which means that you lose the poem and the, you know, the fun story, as it were. Or you've got to do it less literally. And instead you try keeping the poem itself alive, which might then remove a lot of its meaning. It's the same with like trying to translate jokes across languages. You can either localize it or you can just keep the thing. You can keep the actual direct words, but then you lose the actual joke itself.
As the meme goes, you don't hate localizers enough. You think you do, but you don't.
Now, there's nothing wrong with localizing, if I'm entirely honest with you. We make fun of localizing partly because of, you know, bad localizations in 4Kids media and stuff, and weird censorship issues. But when it comes to translating things like poems and jokes and stuff, localizing them is definitely quite important. And sometimes you even get entire stories where the story would just be lost when it gets translated to one culture and hard to understand. So you need to localize it for the local culture. Obviously, you still get bad localizers, and especially like historic stuff. It can get pretty terrible. As they just decide to change history for their own things. To paraphrase Butler, to translate, one must allow for the genius of a target language. I approve of this. It means no stupid brain rot slang just to be current. Yeah. It's for time alone to add moss. Well, I don't know at the same time. It's like, you get the idea of, you know, like Shakespeare. Should we speak Shakespeare in its original, you know, English, or do we translate it for a modern audience? And there's like 3 ways that you can do it. You can literally just make a story that's inspired by the Shakespearean play, maybe with the same characters, but completely different setting. Lion King. You can take the story, keep it within the same setting, but, you know, use modern language for it. Maybe not modern slang, but, you know, I say not modern slang. Obviously, a lot of modern slang will get in because we don't necessarily think of a lot of what we say as slang, because we just think about it as proper English, but it's not proper English, it's slang. In fact, there's some words that have just completely changed the meaning today, like sophisticated. Sophisticated did not always mean what it means today. Cook went for Lion King. I was thinking West Side Story as well. Nolan said a famous part of the Odyssey, telling the Cyclops his name is nobody, doesn't translate. I mean, it's fair. The thing is, if you, when it comes to, you know, films like the Odyssey, I'd say that they purposely take a lot of leniencies, not necessarily just because like things wouldn't work or it makes no sense. It's basically if they want to tell the same story but their way of telling the story. Ultimately, if they want to change the story, it's their prerogative. I mean, the Odyssey has been told in many different ways over many different times. And the one that we know most famously is probably not the original Odyssey. Actually, is it the original Odyssey? I can't remember if it's one of the ones that we... Because there are some where we definitely have, or we think we have the original, you know, closest to original recording that we do. But, I'm pretty sure the Odyssey itself is basically a whole load of folk tales that are basically just stitched together with the same few characters, interlaced with some actual real history. I say interlaced with actual real history. Well, you know, not exactly a accurate historic account of real history, but, you know, stuff that actually kind of happened. Like the Wasser War around Troy. Well, Shakespeare plays are meant to be an event. Homer's poems are meant to be epics. Intention matters. That's a huge part of the story and Nolan moved it. I mean, if he kept every single part of the story, wouldn't the Odyssey be extremely long? Isn't there another Odyssey film, one where they've got the clay motion skeletons and stuff that also took a lot of leniencies? You got the Troy film that people really celebrate with their how cool the horse looks, and obviously that takes a lot of leniencies. I mean, yeah, so going to remove stuff, but Jason for oh yeah, Jason of the Argonauts, yeah. They had the Cyclops in that one too, though. That's different. You move for gods and for story. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I do like my history and mythology and stuff, but when it comes to modern takes on them, it's like, I don't really expect them to be accurate or anything. They're going to change stuff, they're going to remove stuff. It's, like, they're not, I think ultimately, they're not trying to make a one-for-one adaptation. The films rarely ever want to be a one-for-one adaptation. It's, if you want to film that, I guess people are extremely upset about its adaptation, is the Supergirl film, where if you read the original comics that is
Anyone in
inspired
chat
by...
seen my blood effects on my Loyalist World Eaters Tech Marine and Chaplain in Terminator armor bases?
I've seen them. It's pretty good, Michael. Pretty cool, but now people will think his movie is how the story goes. I mean, true-ish. But is that in itself a bad thing? Like, people will always have their own ideas of how the story goes. Like, if they want to read the original story or a modern translation of the story, if they can. If they don't want to, they don't have to. It's a bit like, you know, people, if they want to, like, see the Lord of the Rings movies, they don't have to see the books. But people know that the movies aren't like the books. The movies skip a lot of important stuff. Like, there's a 17-year time skip that the movie just doesn't address in the Lord of the Rings. But... and most people probably won't read the books. It's extremely long. And not easiest things to read in the world. And Tolkien likes to go off on a bunch of tangents that ultimately completely plot irrelevant. It is. It's like when stupid teenagers compare themselves to Romeo and Juliet, thinking that ended well. I mean, honestly, that's just stupid teenagers being stupid teenagers. I'm pretty sure Romeo and Juliet is still on, like, a lot of modern syllabuses. And honestly, people compare that anyway without even thinking it ended well. Like, you can say we're like Romeo and Juliet. It's like, that didn't end well, yeah, but it will for us. But their love was real. It's like, but I mean, does that really hurt anybody? A teenager deciding, you know, saying something or believing something? I mean, if they want to become a historian, then they can become a historian. And then they can read the actual thing and realise, oh, that's not actually how it went. It went differently. The anti-stupidity in all its forms of a movie is dumbed down. I mean, if a movie had everything as it was, I doubt it would be as successful. I mean, to be quite frank, if you didn't expect an incredibly dumbed down version of the Odyssey with a lot of changes, then that is kind of silly. If you're expecting it to be historically accurate, that's also silly. I mean, the Odyssey itself wasn't historically accurate when it was originally written. The Greeks did not care about being historically accurate, the ancient Greeks. There we go. The Oddity by Homer Simpson.
The Oddity by Homer Simpson.
It's stolen valor. I guess so. It's... I don't know, I've not seen the Odyssey film. I can't really comment on... Oh wait, he's got to have a boss pole. I forgot his boss pole. Did I have a boss pole just lying around? I swear, I think I threw it into the bit spots. The Simpsons version is more accurate. Simpsons, meet the Simpsons. They're the greatest family in history. Homer Simpson. Bits boxes. There we go. And here's a nice old boss bow for him. I need a base to put this stuff in. All these bits of sprue. There we go. Telemachus is the original story, goes away, learns to become king, dad comes back anyway. Tell will not be king, but when the time comes, he'll be ready. Yeah. I don't know. I just think people will behave as people do. No, that doesn't want to fit. Okay, I should have a different boss bow somewhere then. in theory. In his giant bits box. Random arc. In the movie, he learns nothing. Dad comes back, sails away, and leaves. I mean, isn't Christopher Nolan kind of infamous for taking characters and twisting their stories around? Like the Christopher Nolan Batman films, I really like the films, but they're off, like, especially by the time the Christopher Nolan films came out, they're very different from the way Batman actually is. Like, he straight up kills people in those films. Like, maybe not necessarily trying to. They keep this the relative spirit of Batman, his relative backstory, but then everything else is kind of just fly by rail. Mongoose is rightly maudling over Odyssey from a student of literature perspective. It had the capacity to be greater. Unfortunately, we got this. From everyone I've heard who's watched the Odyssey, like, my mother's really into history and stuff. So, I mean, she knows the actual proper Odyssey, and she really enjoyed it.
Nom nom nom.
Nom. Hi, Vince Falcador. Rises was always a problem, yeah. Don't eat my banana farm. It's not a banana, it's still cake. I mean, there's always room for another Odyssey film in the future that's more historically accurate. I say historically, more accurate to the modern takes on the translations of the poems as we understand it today. Okay, I can't find another boss bowl. Guess we're gonna have to make do with this one. A pirate ship. Oh yeah, it's a wheel with a kill rig. Nope. Current Green Lantern show has very little ring usage of a suit isn't even green. I've not watched the show. Although technically should the suit not even be a suit, it should be an energy construct. But I don't think they wanted to waste the money on CGI on an energy construct. And isn't the original suit green and black anyway? Kryptonium plus Luthor blood, that's super buy. Doomsday. Batman v Superman, such weak sauce version of Doomsday. Yeah, Doomsday was a bit weird in that film. I think the main thing about, you know, making it green is if they want it to look like, you know, a suit construct, then they would need to make it, you know, a bright shining green, which would be, well, actually we could make a practical suit that's full of green LEDs, I guess, but that would look kind of meh. There we go, he's got a boss pole now. No. I understand the desire and stuff for things to be accurate. I've, to the original. I've never really been one to follow that, though. Like, it can be as accurate or inaccurate as it wants to be. Most people grew up with the not Green Lantern show. Actually, if there was a Green Lantern show, but with the Justice League. So they're aware of what the Green Lantern actually is. I don't think you're going to have a lot of... Maybe you'll have some kids or whatever watching it. Maybe. Oh, but why did I cut out that one? That's not the one I wanted to cut out. I can make a Green Lantern suit, give me a blue morph suit and some CGI software. I get you a fantastic looking suit. It can, but it muddies the water if I want to talk about something and someone has only seen the bad version of it. I mean, but then you get things like, you know, the Batman animated TV show, which created a lot of original characters. And in fact, the Batman TV show was so popular that they changed the comics to represent the TV show. The animated series. They keep using the Power Ranger names after finding out about Super Sentai. Often I'm just happy for more people to know about something and, you know, maybe read the comics or whatever. Like, if a new Supergirl film at least inspired some people to go and check out the comics, I'm quite happy about that. They're not Sword, he's not Trent, and no, go on, Blue isn't Scott. Blue is always Scottish. I don't care who's wearing the suit, where they're from, I don't care which version it is of them. They're always Scottish in my eyes. In fact, everyone's always Scottish. You're Scottish. I'm joking, I never even knew there was a Scottish Blue Power Ranger. What's Lobo doing in that film? No idea because I've not watched it yet. I was kind of excited for it when I found out there was going to be a film, again, only from Reddit. Eventually, I did watch a trailer by searching for it, and I was like, what the heck is this? What the heck is this? Where's my rainbows? Where's my bright, colourful... I want... Like, after seeing the Superman film, I'm like, oh yeah, they're going for classic era DC. A classic deal for really bright, really colourful, really, you know, a kind of cheesy. I was hoping for more of that when it came to Supergirl, you know, for comics being very beautiful, very colourful. I was hoping the film would be more like that. I've had like, this looks like generic. I swear I literally just saw like part of the film, not the full film because it was so bad. That literally looked just like this and had a very similar plot line. Like extremely similar. Just a random sci-fi film that was really bad. Which it made me not want to watch. I mean, some people have said it's good anyway. I mean, it's not great, but it's a lot better than what people make it out to be. I'm like, I'll see it once I can actually see it. Colour is fading in movies. The Superman film was kind of colourful. It was very colourful, actually. What other films have there been? The Captain America film, Brave New World. That was extremely colourful. The CGI could have been better with it, but it was extremely colourful. And I still thought it was kind of pretty. I can't think of any other films I've watched recently, to be honest. Yeah, Barbie! Doomsday is going to be a train wreck, I can feel it. Maybe.
For the Emperor, death to the false gods.
Doomsday is... It's that the new Marvel film that's going to be coming out with Robert Downey Jr. And I don't follow Marvel that well, to be honest. Oh, I hate that. I've got no other arm options. Death to the false gods. If they're false gods, they can't die. They can just cease to be because they never were. Oh my gosh, that would be the coolest thing ever. Do you like imagine a character who has such an unfaltering belief that chaos and demons are not real and that they can't hurt anything, and they just like walk, and demons are like attacking a city or whatever, and they just walk through the demons and the demons just disintegrate around them. Like the power of them believing that the demons are not real in the slightest is enough to like just de-incorporate the demon. Maybe there'll be a slight blank to do that, or slight psyker. But in that situation, what does he think is causing the damage? Well, it's a bit like the old Fabius Bile, where you can see the demons, and he's like, you don't exist. You're not real. There's no soul. There's no mind. There's no physicality here. It is just a figment of people's imagination and fears. What? And it is their own imagination and fears running rampant through the city streets. But since they're not real, they can't harm me. That's how I'd imagine it would be. that's over 40k. Series has just come off the back of Clayface. A lot happened while they were gone. How's the video? I'm doing okay. This era of obsession with showing the faces of mass characters. Dr. Doom is the worst one you could pick because he hates his own face. I mean, honestly, if a character hates his own face, then it can actually bring a lot to life to the character by showing that face that they hate. And potentially, what's the reason? Like, does Dr. Doom hate his face because right now he looks like Tony Stark and Iron Man? Does he hate his face for a different reason? No, I generally just don't have big hope. I've not watched the new Spider-Man film. I did think the Captain America film wasn't too bad. It was a step up from previous projects they've done. Thunderbolts, I don't think lived up to the hype people gave it. It was fine. Probably better than the Captain America film, but I mean, I didn't really. He's horribly disfigured. The sight of himself with a mirror makes him sick. Yeah, there's a good chance that the Doctor Doom films won't do that. I mean, there's a chance they won't do that simply because they don't really want a character who's disfigured being, you know, ugly at the same time. I think they'd rather just have a character who people will look at. I think they'd rather want to do something different. You know, in no small part because they probably don't want to promote the idea that if you're disfigured, you're ugly. Because you're not. I mean, even if it is a bad guy saying that kind of thing. You know, a studio doesn't necessarily want to associate themselves with that. And it won't be Doctor Doom. Yeah, honestly, it probably won't be. But that's what most of the Marvel characters are right now in this films. They are... like, they're inspired by the comic books. They're not really based on the comic book characters, as it were. In some ways, that's a good thing. In some ways, that's a bad thing. That it would be cooler in some cases if they were the characters. But a lot of the time, they're just not. It's like Iron Man. Iron Man is so good, partly because while he's inspired by the Iron Man character, Tony Stark in the films, I think, is a lot better than most of his comic counterparts so far. Well, I say so far. More recently, they've been using the inspiration from the films. But before that, he was kind of... Hey, Sky Cow! Turn me into a banana. Yes, psyche scars and their own disfigurement is part of the character. It should be kept as part of it. True. Now, we don't know. Like, seriously, he could have been, like, seriously disfigured. And he got plastic surgery to make himself look like Tony Stark for whatever reason. Now, it does seem to go against Doctor Doom's character in itself. Although Doctor Doom's also received Christmas presents from Father Christmas, so what do I know? There we go. Doom thinks Tony's suit is quaint. Yeah. An experiment literally blew up in his own face. Yeah, I think trying to judge the film before it comes out, though, is... It's always bad to judge films before they've come out. Don't judge a book by its cover, as they say. Generally with comic book films, though, I generally throw my ideas out of a window of what it's going to look like, especially since Supergirl. I think that's... I was kind of excited for it when I heard about the comic it's based on, and I was like, oh, it's a beautiful comic. I wonder if it's going to be like that. I mean, the Superman film gave me hope it would be, and then it's like, no. But equally, it's like, I'm not a big fan of the Thor comics at all. In fact, a lot of Marvel comics I'm just not a big fan of in general. But when it comes to the MCU versions, I'm like, you know what? I do prefer the MCU versions for a lot of them. Not all of them are better in the MCU. I think there's definitely characters who are worse off. Hulk, for instance. It's not done that well in the MCU. I think She-Hulk was done fine, but it was close enough to the comics, I guess. I got needs to be cut. Judging book by its cover in this situation has been brought of the art form. It's more pattern of recognition at this point. Yeah. I mean, generally when it comes to films, I judge it based on its own merit. I think everyone knows by this point that comic book films are not accurate to the comics. And honestly, they're just doing their own thing. Miss Marvel was not like the comics. Although we're looking at the original Miss Marvel script, again, it wasn't going to be super like the comics, but the first season was basically just going to focus. It wasn't going to go on the end of the world and stuff. That was going to be season 2. But instead, they had to cram the entire season 1 into like 1 episode or 2. So it's like, They owned the old TV series. Book has been done so dirty because of meddling from Universal. Yeah. You got me us on your phone while you're walking your cat. Nice! Hope your cat likes stretching their legs. Doesn't help that the cover is the Cliff Notes now. I got to rest for a few hours, sorry. I was doing sport and training. Don't apologise. You go and rest. You need to take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. I know. There's a reason why these comic characters intrigue and inspire us. These movies are more like character assassinations. Kind of. I felt like Tony Stark was done, for the most part, maybe not every single film. I think it was done better than how the comics had treated him in many years. Honestly, I feel like the Thor films, until you get to Love and Thunder, I think the Thor films are pretty good. I mean, Dark World was a bad, or whatever it's called, with the Dark Elves was a bad film, but I don't think how they treated Thor's character was necessarily bad. I think the first Thor film was good. Thor's character was fine. Loki's character was fine. What is she called? Jane, I forget. she was done terribly. It's my main complaint about for movies these days, in which she kind of sucks in for films. Love and Thunder absolutely sucks though. And Thor's character's just like on a roundabout. Ragnarok was pretty great. I enjoyed that one. And then you've got Endgame and Infinity War 4. Yeah, I get it. It's fine. Some recent comic stories often assassinate characters too. Recent? No, they've been doing that for years. Be a DC fan and just go through the different ages of the comic books. And it's like Superman's character. It's like, especially in the 60s, they're just like, you know what? Let's just screw over Superman's character. Let's just write another what if Superman becomes bad. Let's just do this weird thing with him. And then, you know, you get to the 70s and 80s, and then you get to the 90s. And then obviously you get the entire idea of what if they like doing grim, dark stuff, DC sometimes, and then sometimes they're like, let's do happy and wonderful stories. It's like, again, I think the best way to generally enjoy films, especially film adaptation of things, is recognize that, yes, there are going to be people who will see that as the definitive version of the characters. Which is their prerogative if they can't be bothered reading the comics or whatever. It's fair. It's them. But they're generally not going to be faithful adaptations. They're going to be loosely inspired by something. Film writers will always want to put their own spin on stuff. Producers, directors will always have their own influences. The people at the top above them all will always want something of a film to be pushed differently and changed. Yeah, then you got the editors also adding their own spin onto it. You've got so many different minds who are all working together to take a basic idea and inspiration and all adding their own influences and ideas into this one giant project. So when you're looking at a film, you're not looking at what one person wrote 20, 30 or 1,000 years ago. You're looking at what 200, 300 people worked on together. And it's pretty much impossible. Like, if you decided you wanted to make an Odyssey film today, and you wanted to make it with a decent budget, and you were going to get, like, you get yourself hired by a big company and stuff, you're going to find that your historically accurate Odyssey film is probably never going to be accurate for one reason or another, despite your attempts to. But most of these people writing and making them, they're not attempting to do that type of stuff. And if you go in hoping that they will, then you're just going to go in to be disappointed in the end. I mean, it'd be nice if they took more inspirations from stuff, or they made it closer to those things. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they get it right. And other times it just comes out and it's like, yeah, it's not what anybody wanted in the end. Sometimes it's not even like with the Snyder films, it's not even like what the people who actually made the film wanted. Imagine if a movie version of Mr. Freeze was the only version of Mr. Freeze, and the animated version never existed. He would be the infinitely worst character. Yeah, now imagine if the comic book version only existed before the animated film came out and gave him, you know, a story and a life. It'd be infinitely worse. But the animation decided to make a Mr. Freeze that was better than the comic books. They decided to make it different. They decided to put their own spin on Mr. Freeze. They decided to give him reasons to do what he was doing. and it was amazing. Imagine the Joker without, you know, ever getting Harley Quinn. It's... And some people would say, oh, it'd be way better without Harley Quinn, it's just worse now. Imagine if we never got Conroy's performance and only West's. West was great. I love West's performance of Batman. I also love Conroy's performance as Batman. I mean, to be fair, it's like almost every single Batman piece of media that's come out, I've enjoyed to at least some extent. Not all of it, but most of it. I liked the Christopher Nolan Batman films. I liked the... What's it called? I even like Batman v Superman, to be honest. I mean, yeah, it was great. I like most of the animated films, not all of them. The animated series, amazing. But I know that a lot of the time things will end up like when they change stuff, they'll make it worse. But sometimes they make it better, sometimes they make it worse. The Hobbit's kind of divisive in that regard, in which some people think that the Hobbit films are better than the books. Not too many. Or at least that the liberties they took, you know, were worthwhile taking. Quinn as one-shot character had more thought put into her than a lot of the intended flagships. Yeah. I think a lot of the DC projects, especially the, you know, the Snyder era projects, suffered a lot from massive oversight and requests from people at the top. Like just saying, hey, we want this in our Harley Quinn stuff. We want this in our Superman film. Let's do this and this and this. And it's like, like when you're just looking at, hey, why did it turn out like this? And you're just looking at what they had to deal with through every single level of a process. And it's like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now that being said, I did enjoy the Harlequin films, mind you. Again, they weren't amazing, they could be better, but I won't say I didn't enjoy them. I quite liked them. But I think there's a big difference between quite liking a film and thinking it's absolutely amazing. Like the cartoon scene for Mr. Freeze Batman film, animated film, absolutely beautiful. That's amazing. At least he's got a different arm on that guy. No, but it's the same arm. I decided to make him a better character. If only we could do that every time. Unfortunately, most adaptations regress characters now. I think part of that is how popular the Christopher Nolan Batman films were, in which they regressed the characters. They didn't really regress the characters, but they wanted to really go with this very grim personality to the characters that, you know, proved popular. And they tried to capture ever since, kind of. Which is meh. I stayed up since yesterday. I'll go and sleep when the stream ends. Oh, go and sleep now. Take care of yourselves. I tell you this, the stream's less important than you. I think sometimes, like, you know, when you get these changes, people are trying to make the characters better, and they make them worse. But they are trying to, like, they're doing changes that they think are good, that they think will be good. And sometimes it works out. A lot of the time it doesn't. Like, I think for Spider-Man films, like the Spider-Man films, the modern Marvel ones, actually even the original Spider-Man films, they took a lot of leniencies with the characters. They changed them quite a lot. Like, the entirety of Ned's character in the Spider-Man films, he brings so much extra stuff. Like giving Peter a proper friend, I guess, outside of just Harry, who was honestly never that great. You want to present a story in a wider reaching medium, you have to improve, because the version will be a defining version. True. Even that just ends up being faithfully representation, what makes a story intriguing in the first place. That is also true. I think what you get with a lot of comic book films, though, right now, is especially like some writers, that they don't actually like the comic books, or they just think, they don't realize that modern society has changed, I guess. More people will accept a faithful adaptation of a comic book. Like, go back to the original Batman films, like, you know, the ones of the 90s and stuff, and people were probably less willing to accept, like, wider audiences, just a general straight up adaptation of a comic book. And people generally looked down on comic books, even popular ones such as, you know, Superman and Batman. So trying to make a faithful adaptation of them wasn't always going to be something that people thought could play out well. And this definitely became true with Christopher Nolan's idea of, you know, Batman. And I wouldn't say Christopher Nolan at all improved on who Batman was as a character at all. Or any of his villains. I mean, I guess maybe Harvey Dent, actually. I think they did Harvey Dent relatively well. I mean, the Joker, I feel, was much worse. I mean, as much as I enjoyed the performance of the Joker and really enjoyed the film version, as a character, he doesn't feel as well as the others. Even ready to see for Orks. Hello, Deadly Reg. We're talking about comic book films and faithful adaptations versus unfaithful. For Orks, or all the Beast Snaggers, we got ourselves an Exodite box, and we had Beast Snaggers in it, but I had already bought ages ago a box of Beast Snaggers really cheaply on eBay. So now I've got 20 of these monopose boys with very few options on them. I'm so glad the new Orc boys are a lot better. Like, look at this. Why? Couldn't you have made a ball joint for the arm or whatever? Superhero films now lack sincerity. I mean, the Superman film was good. I feel like the Superman film was relatively sincere. From what I've heard of the Supergirl film, it was written by someone who hadn't done films before. And they were also, you know, not a big comic book fan. So it kind of sounds like there wasn't the same sincerity there. I feel like Nolan concentrated too much of a gadgets and punchy side of Batman and tended to sideline the detective side. True. And also his compassion for people got sidelined a lot. Now, to be fair, the comic books also like to sideline Batman's compassionate side and even the detective side. We really see that much more in the animated series a lot better. And some of the animated films as well. It's also one of the reasons that made for Batman such a good film. I really enjoyed for Batman. In fact, we actually see him be more of a detective and we see him be more human. Like, rather than, do you know, basically a walking demigod of martial arts and Tibetan monk prowess. Hello, just a musical nugget. How are you doing? Look at this guy. I'm glad now that for new boys, any head can go on any body. And on these guys, you can mix and match the heads relatively well. It doesn't work for every head, but you can. And actually, the way that they designed the heads on the new push fit models means that some of the heads on this kit do fit on the push fit models. And vice versa. I don't know how the new Ork Boys kit will work with them. Been a while since I've showed up to a live stream. Glad to be here. Yay, thank you for being here. It's been a while. Rule of them and take many wives, really? Oh yeah, the entire thing with his parents. I did think that was weird. But I mean, I kind of liked it in terms of it made Superman's character himself much more sincere. Like he keeps people safe because he wants to. It's who he is. It's not who he was born to be. It's not who he was meant to be. Or he had to come up with that for himself effectively. So that's kind of okay. I do feel there are definitely parts of a Superman film that I feel are kind of meh. That's one of them, especially the entire thing of I know these people, they couldn't get it wrong. It's like I find it hard to believe, to be quite frank. That's the main thing about it. It's like even within the film, it's like a few hours. That's all it really was. It's like if they translated a Kryptonian language, decrypted this thing that Superman couldn't decrypt. And, you know, it's kind of hard to believe. I mean, okay, now, Lex Luthor probably has all sorts of powers and stuff to do that. And it wouldn't be the first Superman where, you know, the Kryptonians were kind of evil. In fact, it's kind of a common story of Kryptonians sometimes being bad. I have 6 processors in my laptop now. Nice! I had 4. I do got my eyes on saving up for a tough laptop through. Ooh. There's a comic where Batman's compassion is shown, but it tends to be more street-level stories, not the global crisis ones. True. That's the thing, though, I like about Batman, and I think we need to focus more in films, is I don't want every film to be a global blooming crisis. Like, the amount of times of being like, oh, this character's kind of cool, oh, this is pretty fun, but it's like, global crisis, the world's going to end, Miss Marvel. Like, I literally just roll my eyes. I'm like, oh my gosh, why? I think the opportunity to show Superman wishes he was Clark Kent, but does his best to be Superman is permissible. Lex Luthor doing impossible things, a petty, spiteful reason feels on brand. True, true. My main issue with the film, personally, is honestly a lot of the fight scenes. I feel the fight scenes felt a bit, like, do you know what? As nice as a music video it made, the Mr. Terrific fight scene just felt really odd in the film. Not a big fan of it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but not got the idea that Superman was smart, whereas Lex Luthor is meant to be an actual genius. Lex Luthor is smarter than Superman, but Superman is very often shown to be, quite frankly, super genius. There's a few reasons of this. Is that Superman himself basically experiences time in slow motion. He has such incredible senses that he basically like feels the universe. When Lex Luthor like gets a fraction of Superman's power, he's like, what the heck? What the heck? This is how you live. This is how you feel stuff. I actually think there's an animated thing where he does that. One of the films. But Superman is incredibly smart. Like, it's not just his body that's super powered, it's his mind too. This is one of the reasons why he can go up against people like Lex Luthor. It's one of the reasons why he can be friends with like Batman and, you know, they work together. He's on, and his entire, you know, like in many instances, he makes the Fortress of Solitude, he makes the robots, he repairs the robots, he has the AI and stuff. Superman is absolutely insane. Now, in the Fat film, you kind of get the idea that Superman isn't as smart. He has all the robots and stuff, but for all we know, he could have never have made them. There's multiple ways he could have got hold of them. I don't think there's even as much in it as you'd imagine between Superman and Lex Luthor in terms of intelligence. One of the things that Lex Luthor does have access to, I don't know if he has access to it in the Superman films, I can't remember if they mentioned Star Labs. But in DC, Star Labs in general has the smartest people in DC at it. As well, well, some of the smartest. As well as often, you know, certain alien technologies that can, you know, do stuff. So Superman is smart, he just does stupid things sometimes. Yeah. He also doesn't like to flex his intellect, basically. He respects people a great amount and is willing to play the fool for them. I'm back to bossing mode. Why am I stood up here? Why am I stood up here? I might need to fix some of these commands. There we go. Hello! I'm here. Oops. No, don't worry about it. That's just the command messing up itself. You didn't do anything wrong. That's a lot of sprinkles. You got a lot of sprinkles. Release me from the...
Mother, release me from the void.
You're fair. Are you happy now, Cuptle? You just kind of... You're kind of just slightly on screen. Yeah. I readjusted some of the things, so I need to kind of... I readjusted the models, but I think I forgot to readjust the commands to change them, because each one is its own adjustment. 29, 30. was my favourite Superman film, though? Or, superhero film? I don't know what my favourite superhero film, live action is. I think controversially, I might say Ragnarok. Or Ragnarok. Simply because I just enjoyed it. It was just a very fun film.
Ma, how many orcs do you get?
How many orcs? I got 20 orcs just here. Or what we're building today. Orcs in general, I don't know, about 4,000 points worth. How often do you buy orcs? Not bad. I mean, relatively often recently. Because we bought the Exodite box, which came with a bunch of hiccup orcs. There we go. There we go. Hello, Officer Bucktud Russell. There you go. I think Batman is one of those characters where because he's had so many comic books, he's got so many different incarnations that are very different from one another, and some of them absolutely suck. So it'll be very interesting how they do
infrequently. Now, how often does she buy plastic crack? That question can be answered with another. Does she ever stop?
Yes. She says, hesitantly. That head doesn't fit on here. Does this one fit on here? Yeah, that one fits. Yaha. Diddle-dee-dee. Being a pirate's alright with me. Do what you want, because a pirate is free. You are a pirate. Yaha. Diddle-dee-doo. Diddle-dee-doo. Like the one for the latest cartoon. I need to watch the latest DC animation. I've heard that the latest Superman cartoon is amazing. I need to see it. I'm not a big fan of the comic books. Not comic books. The DC animated films. Like the one... But that being said, I really don't like... Darn it, where did that land? I heard it bounce on a box. There it is. Like, I'm never been a big fan of the Damian character. Damian Wayne. Like, whether it be comic books, animation, or anything that he's basically been in so far. It's just such a difficult character to enjoy. You know? Oops. There we go. Thank you for that. The latest Superman cartoon is alright. It's a bit Tumblr. Young adult for me. Oh. It'll probably be fine for me.
Damian Wayne is a cool brat.
He's not cool, he is a brat though. I like Damien's character in the animated movies. If you see for 4 to 5, he's quite grown, got a lot of character growth. I should give the movies another shot. You're just going to stick to the older stuff? That's fair. Nothing wrong with that. There we go. Okay, can I actually get this fitting in there then? Maybe. I have to give him his actual arms. These arms don't want to fit here. There we go. Trying to make them each
Conjuror,
feel a bit
you should
unique.
look up what a breakfast burrito is and look at the sheer genius of it.
Does it have a hash brown in it? I have a Warhammer game on PS4, I think, unless it's Space Marines. There's a few games it could be, I guess. Warhammer is very nice. It's made a lot of games. Some of them good, some of them bad. Early 2000s was peak for DC Animated Universe series. The DCAU movies were great up until about 10 years ago. Yeah, I never was a huge fan of the DCAU films. Like, do you know, with Bootbeside Squad and stuff? I didn't hate them. And then you had like the Superman versus Batman film, which was fine. But that's how I felt about a lot of those films. And then you had like the Flash Infinite World Crisis and stuff, which, to be fair, I've never been a fan of that plotline, even in the comics. It's just not for me. That being said, I'm not a massive reader of the comics. I just read sometimes when it's... I'm more of the occasional comic book reader, like if there's a specifically really good comic book. To be fair, when it comes to DC, they're resetting the universe just so often. Or do you know, having different comic books that are set in different frames of time? I've been reading some of the oldest comic books though from DC. In part just for research. Like from the 50s and 60s. They are interesting, if nothing else. I'll give them that. I'd definitely say that they are interesting. Breakfast burrito is a genius creation. Who created it? Who created the breakfast burrito? Dave Stewart, creator of the Everything Burrito. Not fine, it was cool as well. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, later today we'll be watching Forward Until Dawn. You know, for Halo TV, not TV series, for Halo feature-length advert. Well, not quite feature-length, close to feature-length advert for Halo 4. If you're on the Discord, we'll be watching it together there. If you're not, and you remember, we'll be watching it together on YouTube. There we go. I'm off to a meeting. Bye-bye, Night Parade. See you later. There we go. I do hope that the Warhammer TV series is good. Because it would be nice to get a proper TV series for Warhammer. Oh, they're making an entire season of Secret Level as well, apparently. On Amazon. Which sounds like it could be very cool, especially if it's like a proper, like 20-minute episodes and stuff, and there's like 6 episodes at least. It's the opportunity to have a nice Warhammer story that's not just 3 10-minute episodes, or just 1 10-minute episode in some cases. Like Warhammer Plus animations have been getting better. It's just this severely limited by how long they give them. There we go. Do you think we're going to get new Beast Boys? Not Beast Boys. Do you think we're going to get new Burner and Looter Boys? Or do you think we're doomed to stay with... Or do you think they're just going to be legends forever now? Because I got 2 squads of Looters alike, and I was hoping to get some Burner Boys eventually. Because Burner Boys and Looters are 2 of my favourite Orc units. I'm guessing the new way Flamers are going to be, that they'll be a bit overpowered. I'd guess, with the Burners. At least in Orc hands, because you don't want them that good at shooting. With what Amazon has done with Rings of Power, I'm scared. I mean, considering how Warhammer is with the IP and how they've brought in like horror film writers and stuff, and have secret level was pretty well done, if I'm to be honest. There's some leniency you can do with the arms to reposition them a little. Or some of the arms anyway. Which is nice. Like, is that the same guy here? Yeah, same guy. Are shooters and choppers in one unit now? Yeah, every model has a chopper basically now. And they don't give up their chopper to use a shooter. And if they take a heavy weapon, apparently they still have their chopper. It only replaces the shooter. So every arc has either a chopper and a shooter, or a chopper and a special weapon. Or for a knob, so they get bigger, better choppers. And bigger, better shooters. Nice. Wah! Best I can give you is cautiously optimistic. Yeah, I'm not super excited. I'm hoping it'll be good. Maybe the latest Warhammer Plus animations have been nice enough. There we go. How does his head want to fit on this body? Not quite, but some paws. It fits. Nice. Wait, is this guy... Oh, where's my other thump gun? No, he wasn't screaming. So we got the thumper. Wooden. Wooden. Do 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 do. Lunk. Ba 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 ba. And then we glue the front off. Yeah. It's I don't know what else they'll do. I'm hoping that with DC and the films that they might learn a lesson, although it's blooming Warner Bros. They never learn lessons. Although, have you heard? They've got a Coyote. They got an Acme film now. Like with Coyote in it. And Roadrunner. Wile E. Coyote. Could you imagine being named Wiley? Have you ever thought, do you know, like, it's very common to call, like, anthropomorphized animals, you know, the surname is just what they are. Like Donald Duck, Scrooge McDuck. That'd be like if someone was called Huey the Human. Huey McHuman. It's like, what the heck? Why? Do you think, like, anyone ever just comments on that? And they did kill off Hal Jordan. They did? Gonna be weird playing Gladius and Battle Sector to get rid of looters and burners. Yeah, looters are my favourite unit. I'm hoping what's happening is they're coming back in Kill Team. And that's why they've not been announced so far. Over for Orc Codex. Because on the way, it's just in Kill Team. Maybe. You know, I can be hopeful. Maybe they'll be fighting some Grey Knights in Kill Team, or some Dark Angels, Dark Eldar Beast Masters, or the Dark Eldar, you know, like mercenary gang. Sicils. What would be super fun, actually? They should add a faction to Warhammer, like not a proper faction, but call it Xeno Mercenaries. And factions that can take Xeno Mercenaries should be Imperial Agents, Dark Eldar, Eldari, basically Xenos, Imperial Agents and Chaos should be able to use Xeno Mercenaries in their armies. And when you take them, they gain the keywords of your army and the army rule. No, maybe not the army rule, but they gain the keywords. That would be so fun. So, like, you get the sea leaf and stuff. Oh, that would be amazing. And then, like, the Tau would get their auxiliaries, and maybe there would be a special rule with the Tau ones if they gain a specific army rule. Or keyword. Oh, the Tau Codex should include the keyword auxiliary to replace, like, or to be included with Crute and Vespid. You just have, like, auxiliary as a keyword. And then the Xeno Mercenaries, and they join Tau, will automatically have the auxiliary keyword. Like, maybe it would just be inbuilt to the datasheet. Like, they don't just gain it. It's just inbuilt to the datasheet. So when they have an army rule that specifically states, hey, when using auxiliaries, they can do this or that. Auxiliaries. So I'm like just bouncing around with like different topics. That's just the way my mind works sometimes. There we go. What time is it? Oh gosh, it's 2 already. I need 2 more orcs to build after this guy though. What head did we give him originally? I'll try giving him a different head. Running pose, shooting forwards of this guy. Okay, we gave him a head that I don't have because I already used it, so I can give him any head I want. Nice. Yeah, I definitely don't think I want any more beast snaggers because it would just be difficult trying to make them different. Yeah, it seems to be Lanterns is suffering from pre-MCU. I'm a serious Hollywood director. Superhero flicks are beneath me production. I've heard Wonder Man is good. I need to watch Wonder Man. I've heard the TV series is good though, from what people have said. I've only heard the critic reviews giving it, you know, decent reviews. Why is it streaming though? That's the thing I want to know. Not that I'm going to pick up a new service, like I think I only have Netflix right now. Boomer father. Disney Plus. Lanterns is on Disney Plus? Shouldn't be on Disney Plus, it's not Disney. You want chocolate right now? I can understand that feeling. Buy yourself a 5-kilogram bar of chocolate. Oh gosh. I have no idea what parts I just grabbed hold of. Oops. It was supposed to be in with this one. Oh yeah, Wonder Man's is on Disney Plus. Lanterns is HBO or whatever, Warner Bros. Streaming. I don't think Warner Bros. Has a streaming service. Which makes trying to watch this stuff kind of difficult because it can be all over the place. There's less mode lines on the newer ones than the older ones. Yeah, I know, what's it called? Wonder Man is on Disney Plus. I'm like skipping through conversations here. Doing what a mother does. Having 6 conversations at once and never referring to which one she's actually having right now. HBO Max on Prime and Apple TV. Apple TV, the worst TV. Well, after Paramount. Paramount's the worst. Then it's Apple. Oh wait, there is a streaming service. They have Discovery. But which is a worst streaming service because it's all reality TV. Remember when Discovery was all about nature documentaries? And history was all about history? Petridge Farm remembers. My gosh, I think my most despised thing in TV and media is probably reality TV. I've never understood the love for it. And you see clips because it's incredibly heavily advertised. And you imagine that the clips must be like the best parts of a show clipped to you. So that they, you know, because it's an advertisement. But it's never sold me on for shows. It's always made me want to be like, yeah, no thank you. I look at the glue and my brain says nail polish. I mean, it's kind of like, it's more like nail polish and mover, to be honest, in a way. It will melt your nail polish if you put it on. I watched So Army, World War II, and dinosaur documentaries on history, and a comic book history. .co. Ooh. So many World War II and dinosaur documentaries on the History Channel. Yeah. And now it's all ancient aliens and weird. Things. There we go. To be fair, I've never been a big fan of the American documentary series style of doing stuff. Because there's always this twist on them trying to make it sound more exciting than it actually is. And then every time you have an ad break, they basically go over everything they've already told you. Which just pads the time. Like, no. Maybe that's just like the documentaries that made it over here. David Attenborough could sell me an anything, grass growing, 3 hours, filling watch, true. I don't really like that type of history, because like the other day, well, a while ago now, my mother was watching a, documentaries. I think one of it was where Atlantis could have truly been. Is Atlantis real? And stuff like this. And it was a proper documentary. Like, people trying to search for ancient ruins in the Mediterranean. Like, what could have potentially been. And they're like straight off from the off. Like, so Atlantis as an actual thing, not real. But as with much of Greek myth, there could have been a place that it was inspired by. A city roughly of the same idea, but was swallowed by the ocean. And considering how the Mediterranean was and volcanic activity, it's entirely possible that did happen. But then the entire thing was basically, trying to ramp up excitement about them going on boats and, we're looking at this place now, we're going underwater. Is this, are we going to find Atlantis? And it's like, yeah, no. If you did, it would have been all over the news. And so really, everything that they told you in the first 10 minutes is basically the entire episode. With them, look, they do go around to a few different ruins, looking at them and stuff. And you do see them speak to some, experts and whatever, but it's just like, if you watch the entire thing, it's like an entire hour of your life just wasted on a question that didn't even need questioning. Some people believe Atlantis is under Atlanta in America. Seriously, yeah. People be silly. But some people believe the world is flat. Or that dinosaurs aren't real. Some people don't believe in tyrannids. There we go. And there we go. 20 Beast Snagger Art boys. There's the last one. Yeah, these models are even more monopose and less easy to convert than I even thought they were. Like, my goodness, they're just... Imagine wanting 40 of these guys so you could have 2 squads of 20 or maybe 3 squads of 20 or a couple of squads of 20, a couple of squads of 10. And it's just all the exact same models. There's only so many ways to build them before you have to start cutting pieces apart. Buying some extra sets and cutting pieces off one arm onto another. Now they're full for 3 big birds. Oof, yeah, dinosaurs have become... Have they gone full for 3 big birds? Some of them always were. But yeah, they I definitely would not pay full price of these guys. Sorry. Especially with the new Orc boys coming out, I wouldn't pay full price of these guys. I think I'd just rather buy some Orc War Clan dudes, maybe. They are... Just convert some Orc boys. And it's disappointing that the knob's literally just the same size as a regular boy. Ever so slightly bigger, but they use the same legs, so it just gives him an overly long torso and tiny little legs. And his head's about the same size as a normal Orc boy. So it's barely a knob, it's just a guy in charge. It's just the leader of the Beast Snaggers. Which is kind of meh. Oh. Autonomy of an 11th edition codex. Anatomy. Anatomy. Lots and lots of lore. The new book measured 180mm by 250 compared to 220 by 285. If you said Orcs hunt and kills, you just might be a Beast Snagger. Oh, look at these guys. Old mech boys, new mech, old mech boy with, what's it called, shock attack gun. Old mega armored mech boy and newish big mech. Yeah, it's also enclosed in a slipcase. So you get a nice rigid version or more portable version. So if the slipcase is hard, so that you can put it on a shelf and stuff nicely. But if you want to take it anywhere because it's smaller and it's softback, you can more easily put it in like a box or something with your other miniatures. It's got a comprehensive bestiary of all the units you can collect and use. Returns with a bang, ballooning the lore section of the codex on 40 pages in 2024 to nearly 100 in 2026. So that's nice. The main reason you need to get codexes is honestly for the lore, not for rules. Because the rules change. Also the new gargants. I just want to look at them again. They're amazing. Look at them. Look at them go. I love these gargants. Look at her throw. Book reviews still. Yeah, I don't know if I'll get the codex or not. I might eventually get it. I don't think we'll read it on stream. 100 pages sounds like a lot to read on stream. I wonder if there are good Orc War Clan miniatures though. For Beast Snaggers. Now boots are more knob size. Odd boys. Odd boys could be knobs. They could be Beast Snaggers as well. I've built this kit. They're not for best, they're not for worst. They've got lots of options. Each of them can be armed with a spear or a big old sword. And we got a shield. I think from 32mm, aren't they? Yeah, 32mm. So yeah, I'd rather just get some of these and convert them a little bit into 40k rather than beast snaggers. I wouldn't get these guys. These guys don't really look very orky. Oh, yawning. I'm tired. It's a good Orc Black Library book. Oh, there's a few. I've read 2 so far. One is called War Boss by Mike Brooks. I think it was, which is fine. It's definitely not my favourite of the 2. But it was a fun enough story. You got Brutally Cunning, I've heard is good. Prophet of a War, I've heard is good. Warlord of Warlords, I've heard is very, very good. I've got it, I need to read it still. Green Tide, I don't know much about. I've read War Boss by Mike Brooks, which is... Basically, it's a competition between a bunch of random war bosses who can become the next war boss. And you get the point of view of a few humans as well in it. It's a nice enough story. But before that one, I had read the Mad Dot Grotsnick book. I think it's just called Grotsnick or Mad Dot. But that one's very good. That one's really, really good. It gives you it's a very nice look at the orc perspective on things. From an orc who's kind of un-orky, so he's easier to sympathize with. And it also gives you a point of view of other characters, so some fun twists in it. It's very... I recommend that one. You can just start in it. You don't need to know anything else about any other characters. You can just start with that one. And it's a very good book. If the audio book is also quite nice, it's got I think he also does the narration for the War Boss audiobook. He does very good voices of the orcs. I had to change to no ads, getting sleepy. Go to sleeps. Knob size disappointing. There we go. So I'm just like checking some stuff. You'll give them a look. Yeah. There you go. Oh. Well, I'll close this down. Yeah, most of the Orc books I've heard good things about. I mean, obviously, a lot of these things are going to be subjective. But either way, when it comes to a knob size, this is the knob for the Squig Hog boys. That's it, Squig Hogs. And this is a normal Squig Hog. Like you can see, they gave them a massive difference. See, it's not just a Squig is bigger, the Orc is so much bigger on the back of him. Like, they definitely made this guy a proper knob. I think what they could have done for the beast snaggers here is they could have definitely given them a third sprue with lots of different arm and head options, including better options of a knob. So they could make him bigger and better, but instead they just kind of... Although these guys, they are oddly small. Like, this is for Exodites next to them. Like, the Squig Hog boys are tiny. Like, they don't stand a chance. It takes a full-on blooming knob to go up toe-to-toe with an Exodite. To be honest, that's fair. It's like, I don't think the knob would even beat an Exodite in single melee combat, usually. I think in terms of stats, they shouldn't either. New recruit. And oops, that's not loading. But if we go over here, what are the Squidcog Boys? The knob. It has 4 wounds at toughness 7, 4 plus armor save, 4 attack strength 6, AP -1, damage 2, anti-monster, anti-vehicle. His squig jaws are exactly the same as everyone else's, even though it should feel like he'll be much stronger. He's got 5 plus feel no pain. Strength 6, AP -1, damage 2, extra attacks. So we're basically getting 7 attacks. What 3 of them are only hit on force. 4 wounds, toughness 7, 4 plus save. Compare this to the Eldari Exodites. Do they have the Exodites under here now? Yeah, Dragon Knights. Okay. Toughness 5 compared to toughness 7. 4 plus armor save. No invulnerable. I thought they did have an invulnerable. 4 wounds. In melee, they get 3 laser lance attacks at strength 6, AP -2, damage 3, and lance. And 3 attacks at strength 5, AP -1, damage 1, extra attacks. We also get the laser carbine and solar carbine, laser lance and solar carbine attacks. Yeah, on stats, the knob has a decent chance against them. In lore, the Exodites would absolutely tear them to pieces. To be honest, though, all Eldari units should have fights first, even if the opponent charges. The only way you can fight first is if you charge and have fights first yourself. Oh gosh. And they should always be hitting on like 2s, I feel like. Like any other skilled Eldari should be hitting on 2s with all of their attacks. They should also be slightly stronger. Like, I mean, like, your average Eldar should be basically strength 4, to be honest. Yeah, Orks, even without a weapon, should be like strength 6 or 7. Like, they're ridiculous. And Warboss, I won't tell you about that, actually. But there's definitely been, like, lore I've read where we're doing just a random Eldar just takes on an Ork and just absolutely tears them to pieces, or like a Space Marine, and the Space Marine can't keep up with the Eldari, and the strength of the Eldari is stronger. No, maybe not as strong as a Space Marine, but strong enough that the Space Marine is struggling to actually overpower them. And they're pretty tough, to be honest. Despite the slender bodies, they don't die easily. They can fight through some grievous injuries as well. Now, Eldar are probably the worst represented in the actual board game right now in terms of capability. The only other one I'd say is probably worse represented is currently the Terminators. Terminators feel like they should potentially have like probably a better invulnerable save, to be honest. Maybe just an ability to reduce the AP of all the weapons that hit them by 1. So if you hit them with an AP 1 weapon, they'll still get a 2+ save. If you hit them with an AP 2 weapon, they'll still get a 3+ save. Anything else, they get in for 4+ invulnerable save. Maybe they have a 4+ save against mortal wounds. So if you hit them with a devastating weapon, they're still going to get the save against you. That's what I'd do for Terminators right now. Just make them incredibly hard to kill. But against that, I'll probably remove the infantry keyword for them. So anti-infantry weapons don't work on them, which they shouldn't. Like a flamethrower, poison attacks, it's not going to work on a Terminator. Even like your super poisons and plagues aren't really going to work on a Terminator. The armors, they've got completely enclosed systems there. But that would mean that they don't get to benefit from the same things. Like, if they're trying to move through terrain, they shouldn't have a mobile keyword. They shouldn't be able to just move through a wall like infantry can. Or like move through a small gap. They should have to take the long journey around. Like, maybe they could smash through a wall, but that would take them time. Like, maybe give them a rule that they can't just walk through walls. Or they can, but it costs them half of the movement if they already move relatively slowly. Like, take away some of the mobility. Make the points incredibly more expensive. And then just make them so incredibly hard to actually kill. Make them also hit on 2s and wound on 2s. Not hit and wound on 2s. Make them always hit on 2s. Because they're meant to be the best of the best Space Marines. So obviously they should be hitting... Their stats should represent that they're the best of the best. Like, they're the veterans of a chapter. For wearing this ancient relic armor that's incredibly hard to break. After that, you've also got Harlequins, actually. Harlequins are also underrepresented. Like, Harlequin should be custodial level. Like, I think a Harlequin should have just a 2+ invulnerable save. Give them a 2+ invulnerable save, make the weapons damage too. And a Harlequin would feel relatively accurate to how they're actually meant to be. Custodies, I guess, are a bit underrepresented too. Especially for Custody Terminators. I think that's just the issue of all Terminators at the moment. They don't really have their lore weaknesses. Like, yeah, they are slower, but they're not incredibly slower. And because they got Deep Strike, and because they can still move through terrain just as easily, they've basically got none of their mobility weaknesses. But I'm gonna take a big old yawn, and what's the time? What's the time? Okay, yeah, I definitely need to stop the stream now. So remember, we're watching. We'll go over to here. Smash! Yeah! Where is it? We've got Halo Forward Until Dawn today. In fact, actually, can I browse? Forward Until Dawn. Oh yeah, I know. I wanna just go. There we go. Yeah! Forward Until Dawn. We're watching this later today in about... What time is it? 2 hours and 20 minutes. 2 hours and 20 minutes. If you're on the Discord, come and join it. I've actually updated the Discord recently, so it should work better. But if you're on the Discord, I'll be creating a voice channel. You won't be able to chat in it. You'll be able to text in it. But we'll be watching it there. But we'll also have it open for members on the YouTube side. Dawn, you just got here. I'm sorry, Rodolph. I'll be... But don't worry, I got a second stream later, and you're on the Discord. So you'll be able to join and watch Forward Until Dawn with us. I've heard it's very good. I've got my fingers crossed it's going to be good. So if you want to watch that, we'd be doing a watch along. Again, you don't have to be a member if you're on the Discord. You can just go into the voice channel. It'll be open for everybody. Yeah. You're out. You're out. Bye bye. But if you if you want to watch it on the YouTube with me, you do have to be a member. In part because, you know, I won't be able to actually show it properly. It'll just it's basically just fair to be like, hey, here you come in. Also, it's easy for me to see chat. But there you go. So really, it's just a big advertisement for the Discord. Hi, TA. We're actually ending the stream now. We're ending the stream. Where's image 6? There we go. We'll just get rid of that. Yeah! Skeleton Dino! Skeleton Dino! I've been trying to make my fossil deck work. It does not work. Well, thank you for coming to the stream today. Oh, we can go back over here. I'll wave to you all. I'll wave to you. Don't forget to like the stream. Take care of yourselves. Work hard, but play harder. Be kind. Well, take care of yourselves and be kind to others and vice versa. Yeah, be kind to yourself. Take care of others. And also, eat good food, sleep well, dream of cupcakes, but don't eat for cupcakes as a friends, not food. I got it correct this time. Yay! Goodbye, everybody. Love you all. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. And don't forget to like the stream. Do, smash. Yeah.